Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 16 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. We're gonna hop into today's episode trying to recover from the rough 2 losses that we had in yesterday's episode. Bunch of bad luck plus a bunch of tricky surprises from the first game of yesterday resulted in 2 losses. So I did play a little bit to get our ratings back out into the 1700s actually. So we're gonna find a 1737 opponent from Japan to kick off today's episode. As always, if you enjoy Road to Rank, please share your support by leaving a like in the video. I would really appreciate it. Anyway, for the first team, my opponent's going to be rocking the dual primals in Groudon and Kyogre, Mega Evolution in Kangaskhan, and then support Pokemon in Thundurus, Cresselia, and Whimsicott. So, bunch of, really strong Pokemon here. Nothing that's too crazy. Whimsicott probably the one that is the most interesting one, since it's one that we don't see too often. It's still a very good Pokemon, though, and it's very obnoxious to deal with because of its ability to Encore and set up Tailwind. So, let's see what I want to go with here. Mawile's nice to deal with Crest King. I think Salamence might be the call here, though, honestly, since nothing resists flying type other than Thundurus. Yeah, I think Salamence might be the call to lead with here. And I might actually just go with Salamence Xerneas as a lead, with Kyogre in the back for sure. And for the last one, let's see. Crobat to potentially set up Tailwind would be interesting, but Amoonguss to redirect attacks like Ice Beams away would also be pretty solid. Crobat, however, can Super Fang, which is nice. But I think Amoonguss might actually be more helpful here for the redirection support, because Thundurus can be pretty annoying to deal with for Salamence, Xerneas, and my Kyogre. So the thing about Thundurus is Thunder Wave is just still really, really good in this format, and it's, I don't think Thundurus is as good as previous years, especially last year, but I think it's still a very solid Pokemon choice. Because when you think about how common Xerneas is, Thundurus can 1 taunt it, and 2, it can just Thunder Wave it. So even if Xerneas goes for the Geomancy, it'll be at +2 special attacks and special defense, but it's still going to be the slowest Pokemon, basically. And then at the same time, it has to deal with the 25% chance of not being able to attack through. But we're going to see Whimsicott and Groudon come out from my opponent's side against my Salamence and Xerneas, which I'm more than okay with here. Do get intimidated off, but more importantly, I am faster, and Groudon typically can't do very much against the Salamence other than use fire-type attacks. So maybe leading Crobat actually would have been better. I should have thought that through, since Crobat's a pretty nice answer against the Pokemon that my opponent has, but what can you do? Let's see, his Mega is Kangaskhan. I could Hyper Voice Geomancy and then next turn Hyper Voice Protect, because there's a... Actually, no, his Groudon here might just go for an attack. I would not be surprised to see that. I could switch out into Kyogre, since he is intimidated. I might actually go for that. The main thing is I'm scared. The tricky thing about Whimsicott is it can Encore you. It can also Endeavor you. So if it sets up a Tailwind, then you feel the pressure to just double attack and knock it out. But then your opponent gets a free switch in. But if you don't pick up that knockout, then they can just Endeavor you the following turn. So turn 1 Hyper Voice and maybe just a Dazzling Gleam. Yeah, let's get rid of Whimsicott, I guess. I mean, there's a chance that he protects Whimsicott and attacks with Groudon. I think that's somewhat unlikely. And even if that's the case, Groudon being intimidated means he can't do too much. Oh, but he actually goes for the Grass Knot. That was about the last attack I was expecting. Maybe predicting a switch out into my Kyogre, which, I was considering. So no Tailwind setup here, which is nice, and I'll be able to knock out Whimsicott, and Groudon will be under 50%, but a decent chance I lose Xerneas here, which is pretty bad, since Xerneas was a really good Pokemon in this matchup. But I'm pretty pleased about this, since the Groudon is in knockout range, and my opponent didn't set up Tailwind successfully. Let's see what he goes for here. He is going to go for the Precipice Blades. I wonder if that's enough to knock out Xerneas at -1, since Xerneas is bulky. And hang on with 39 HP. So, a switch there into Kyogre actually would have been deadly, since I would have lost the Weather War instantly. So I ended up making a pretty good play, and it helps me more. But not the turn one I was expecting. Whimsicott's a Pokemon that typically doesn't carry Protect too often, or excuse me, an attacking move too often. Protect it does carry just to potentially Encore you into shenanigans. So we do see Kangaskhan come out here, which I'm okay with. I could double Protect. Could just Hyper Voice. The thing is, I don't want Salamence to take any unnecessary damage, but I'm afraid of the Power-Up Punch play. I mean, he could Power-Up Punch his own Groudon. Let's see, if he has Precipice Blades, Yeah, I think here I'm just going to protect. And I'll Moonblast the Kangaskhan. Yeah. But, you know, I'm pretty pleased right now since I'm ahead. I knocked out one Pokemon, Groudon's under 50%. His last Pokemon's presumably Kyogre, which my Kyogre and Amoonguss can deal with, though I do have to be a little bit careful here. But this reminds me a lot of the second game of yesterday's episode, where my opponent was able to double crit that in the end game here. So we do actually see the fake out go into the Salamence, so I actually get a free Moonblast off here. No power-up punch play coming out from Kangaskhan. That Kangaskhan's actually in knockout range now from anything, really. So he's going to go for the Precipice Blades. That's going to knock out my Xerneas, but I am more than okay with that because now I can just switch in Kyogre and Hyper Voice and Water Spout. So Salamence was an excellent Mega Evolution in this game. Mawile really wouldn't have done as much, and that's because my opponent apparently just didn't bring Thundurus, which would have been a really good call here. Because of its ability to just shut things down. That's exactly why I brought in Amoonguss, but Amoonguss is still really good in this matchup because in the late game, the redirection support is absolutely phenomenal, whereas, you know, something like Crobat is good in the early game, especially against something like Whimsicott, but we saw the Whimsicott here was, you know, it just went for an attack immediately. So now I'm actually just going to Hyper Voice and Water Spout. He might switch out into Kyogre, but I don't think my opponent really has a way to win this one if his last one is Kyogre. Because he's in KO range with both of his Pokemon from my spread attack. So even if Kyogre switches in, it takes around like 60-70% from the Hyper Voice Water Spout combination. So another Hyper Voice will knock it out. So the main issue for my opponent right now is that Salamence just outspeeds everything. Cresselia, if that's the last one, definitely doesn't help. But Thundurus or Cresselia switching in here will take a ton of damage as well. And, you know, that's why spread attacks are especially good in this format. Attacks like Water Spout, Eruption, Precipice Blades, etc. So, let's see what my opponent tries to do here to maybe pull a comeback. But I'm trying to think of the worst case scenario, and there's really nothing that can happen. The Groudon switch is basically the most expected thing here, as the last one is going to be that Kyogre. So, basically perfect news for me here. I guess if Kangaskhan had Protect, that could be a little bit more interesting, but like I mentioned, the Hyper Voice plus Water Spout from my side should put the Kyogre in another Hyper Voice KO range. So let's see. And he's just going to go for the Sucker Punch to reduce Water Spout's damage, presumably. Yep. Actually does a fair amount of damage, just under 50%. So maybe Kyogre will be able to take this. Yeah, the Hyper Voice that actually a little bit less than I expected, but that's because Kyogre's special defense is so great. So I got the Water Spout off here. But that still does a lot of damage. It's because I get a crit there. Okay. But that still should be game, I think. Because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to withdraw my Salamence out. I guess if he's max speed here, this can be a little bit tricky. So that's the one thing like could potentially screw me over. Wonder if he has Rock Slide. Because I can actually just double edge. Yeah, actually I'm just going to go double edge Kyogre and Ice Beam Groudon here. I don't expect Ice Beam to knock me out, but he doesn't have a way to knock my Salamence out. And yeah, he's probably hoping here that I protect and maybe switch out, but no reason to play passively here. And Double Edge picks up the knockout onto Kyogre, which means the game is basically over at this point, since Groudon can at most maybe knock out one of my two Pokemon. Kyogre's Ice Beam here comes out first as well, so gonna be able to target down that Groudon, and almost picks up the knockout, but he actually did have a way to knock out my Salamence with Stone Edge. I'm not sure if that actually picks up the knockout, but I guess since I took a little bit of recoil damage, it would have been enough, but with Kyogre and Amoonguss in the back, all we'd have to do is Ice Beam and Grass Knot to win the game, so not very much he had to do there. So, nice way to come back and win our first game after losing the both games in yesterday's episode. It was a pretty fun game there as well. I think it was a huge relief that I was able to just pick up that knockout turn 1. The Grass Knot and Precipice Blades play was actually a very excellent play from my opponent's side, and it wasn't one I was anticipating, but fortunately enough, the play I was anticipating and the play I made to counteract that ended up working out alright. So, Pokemon choice-wise, very content. I do think those were the best 4 Pokemon into it, so we're going to try to find our next game of today's episode. Otherwise, yeah, I think if my opponent brought Thundurus, it would have been really, really good. I'm not really sure why he didn't. I think, like, if in Team Preview if I saw this team, I'd really want Thundurus, but maybe he was afraid of Mawile just being able to one-hit KO it with something like Play Rough, which is, I just remembered, I still don't have Play Rough on the Mawile, but Play Rough isn't exactly the most important move in this format. If anything, Rock Slide could potentially help me more, as we're going to find Matt from England with a rating of 1692, just because Rock Slide threatens those Talonflames that we see running around. And Matt here is rocking a Kyogre Mega Rayquaza team, also featuring Gengar, Ferrothorn, Liepard, and Talonflame. So, you know, with these kind of teams, obviously, it's very support-based since Rayquaza is your Mega and one of your restricted legendaries. Gengar here could be a Mega Evolution as well, though. So typically against these teams, I like leading Crobat. Now, you'll notice that my team actually doesn't have great ways to deal with Ferrothorn since I don't carry a Fire-type attack, and that's a major concern. My way of dealing with that typically is using Salamence to Hyper Voice or Double Edge to chunk it off, and then Kyogre's Water Spot actually still does a ton of damage against it. And Xerneas, if I'm able to get an Intimidate off, or if he's not max attack, like, Moonblast still does like 30-ish%. So it's really just chunking it with attacks, and of course Crobat has Super Fang as well. So I do have to play a little bit cleverly when dealing with it, but not the worst case. But let's see what I want to lead with here. I do like Crobat as a lead. Kind of tempted to go with Kyogre, but I think Salamence is the better call. Yeah. And no reason really to bring Mawile or Amoonguss here. Now Mawile would be nice, but it means dealing with Ferrothorn becomes that much harder, so I'm going to bring the Salamence. Also, Rayquaza sometimes carry Earth Power / Overheat, and when they have Delta Stream up, that's just a KO. So that's something that I don't want to just lose Mawile, and since I don't have Play Rough, I don't have a great answer to hit Rayquaza for a one-hit KO and Kyogre either. So it's like Salamence is going to be the Mega Evolution of choice in both games today. You're going to see Gengar Talonflame come out from Matt's end against my Salamence and my Crobat, which is pretty solid here because, you know, we can match Tailwinds immediately, but I get the Intimidate off against Talonflame, and that goes a long way. The real question is, what does Gengar carry? Does he have something like a Icy Wind or a Will-O-Wisp? I'd anticipate one of the two. So I'm definitely Mega Evolving Mence here. I could Taunt Gengar. I could Tailwind with my own Crobat. I'm leaning towards Tailwind and Double Edge into Talonflame. Actually, Hyper Voice might be better. I like Hyper Voice more. Get that spread damage. He could Brave Bird like Sludge Bomb Salamence though, so maybe I want to protect Mence. But he could taunt Crobat too. Ooh. I'm gonna Hyper Voice here, but this is actually pretty risky because oh, he's Mega Gengar. Okay. Well, that changes things a little bit. So okay, I really thought maybe he was just gonna be regular Gengar, a Mega Rayquaza. So that means he probably didn't even bring Rayquaza. So my best bet for the back two Pokemon are Kyogre and Ferrothorn. And he protects Gengar, but that's perfect for me here. Though I should have double-edged Talonflame. But we're just going to trade Tailwinds here. Yeah, double-edge into Talonflame would have been pretty clutch. But, yeah, what can you do? This is a little bit tricky, though, since now he can double up into my Salamence slot with a Brave Bird and a potential Sludge Bomb. Yeah. Let's see. Crobat's really not that necessary here. Matching Tailwinds is actually not good. Maybe I should have Super Fang. I should have Super Fang Hyper Voiced there, I think. I just didn't think it'd be this gang. Oh, I have Quick Guard though. Yeah. Totally forgot about using that as an option. So I'm actually just gonna Quick Guard and Double Edge into Gengar. Since his Brave Bird won't do anything. And Double Edge, I don't know if it'll knock out Gengar. That's the tricky thing. But if it does, then I get the switch out into anything I want. So this is gonna stop any potential Brave Bird. He's going to go Disable, even better for me since I did not Hyper Voice here, so this is just perfect right now. But he was actually making a smart move here. You see, like, he didn't go for the Brave Bird. But Double Edge just knocks out Gengar. Okay, excellent. We're probably going to see a Flare Blitz come out here, but that's even better for me since Talonflame takes recoil damage. But no, we actually see a Taunt come out. That's pretty cool to see. But I don't mind that very much since now I can just Super Fang the Kyogre, which is probably coming in. Or maybe it's going to be Ferrothorn. But eliminating Gengar without it doing any damage is huge because it also means that Xerneas now just has a better time in this matchup. And like I mentioned, Ferrothorn's a little bit tricky to deal with, but I can just Super Fang Double Edge it here. Which I think is what I'm going to go for. A little bit risky. That is a little bit risky, actually. Well, I'm definitely Super Fanging it here. Because the only risk here is that he could, He could Brave Bird my Salamence and protect Ferrothorn. You can also Leech Seed here, though I think that's a little bit more unlikely. Super Fang, Ferrothorn. Yeah, I definitely want that Super Fang. You know what? Let's just go for the Double Edge. If we get it, we basically win this game. There we go. Okay, so as long as we connect with Super Fang, this game is over, I think. But that's what I said yesterday. I was like, hey, as long as no crazy RNG happens, then crazy RNG happened. Oh, so Pokemon, I love you sometimes. He is gonna Leech Seed, and Crobat avoids it at least, but that's the most Pokemon thing you could possibly see. But hey, that's okay. That's okay. We'll take that. So we'll probably see a Brave Bird come out once again. So I think I do want to conserve my Salamence here. I'm gonna go Super Fang, Ferrothorn again. And I'm going to take this time to switch out into Kyogre here. Yeah. The reason why I want to conserve my Mence is because it knocks out the Kyogre in the back. Or it doesn't knock it out, but once Talonflame goes down, or once I can Quick Guard again, then Mence can just Hyper Voice, and getting another Double Edge will knock out the Ferrothorn. So, you know, that's my way to play against Ferrothorn. But yeah, kind of a shame that the game would have been basically over there had I connected Super Fang, but 90% accuracy is what it is. But man, it feels so much lower than 90 sometimes. So he's just going to Brave Bird, presumably into a Kyogre slot, which I'm fine with since he is intimidated, so it's not even a 2-hit KO. Yep. Pretty close to fainting here. Super Fang out into the Ferrothorn, so he's going to be in Origin Pulse KO range at this point as well. Let's see if he went for a Power Whip prediction here. Nope, just going for the Leech Seed again onto Crobat, which is even better for me, because now all I have to do is withdraw Crobat out into my, into either my Pokemon, though I'm probably going to go with Xerneas. I could Super Fang here too. Tailwind Peters out on both ends. He might Tailwind again here. I think he's going to Tailwind with Talonflame and Protect. That could actually cause problems here. Yeah, well. Wait, that's actually not good. Wait. Do we both Tailwind together? I totally missed the message. Oh wait, I can't taunt. That's what I was thinking of, right? I guess I'll Super Fang Origin Pulse here. Yeah, I mean, he's gonna Protect here. Oh yeah, I had a Mind Fart there. I was like, I could just match his Tailwind, no? But once I stall it out, I win the game. If I just connected that Super Fang, though. Actually, missing Origin Pulse here would be better. I should have attacked into Ferrothorn on purpose. That was a bad mistake on my end. So the idea here is, like, I give my opponent the free switch in. Talonflame doesn't do very much offensively right now, whereas by knocking it out, he gets to switch it into Kyogre. Okay, but he does have 3 turns of Tailwind that he needs to take advantage of. Taunt does wear off here as well, which is important. So Kyogre's going to come in from his end, no surprise there. Okay, let's think this out. I don't think Origin Pulse knocks out Ferrothorn at this point. He might just go for something like a Water Spout. So I need to just stall out Tailwind. So I'm just going to Tailwind here on my end. See if he somehow allows me to get it. Yeah, he might actually be able to pull this comeback because I missed Super Fang with Ferrothorn. Oh, how enraging. Mainly because... Let's see. Tailwind Protect, stall out the first turn. The thing is, I still outspeed Ferrothorn with both my or all my Pokemon, really. He's gonna Origin Pulse. If he misses, I also win the game, but no, he does connect here. But Crobat isn't really doing very much at this point. He crits me there, too. But Ferrothorn... hey, Seed Bomb, that's pretty cool to see. I do think I bring in Xerneas here. Yes. Okay, so since he has Origin Pulse, if he has Thunder, he wins the game, I think. Oh man, I hope he doesn't have Thunder. Because I'm just going to Origin Pulse and Moonblast to knock out Ferrothorn here. And if he doesn't pick up the knockout, then I can double Protect next turn, since I should still outspeed Ferrothorn despite Tailwind being up. So Kyogre here Water Spout. Oh, if he has Water Spout too. But you would have gone for Water Spout if he didn't. Actually, if he doesn't have Water Spout, that means he probably has Thunder. So I'm probably screwed here. Maybe I should have just protected Xerneas. Let's see. Let's see. This is the game-deciding turn. Oh, and he protects with Ferrothorn. Nice play. But that does mean I can double protect this next turn. He's going to Origin Pulse. Xerneas actually avoids it. That's a game changer. That might save me. Let's see. As he's going to target down Kyogre. Yep. Moonblast just goes into Ferrothorn. Origin Pulse fails. But actually does, you know, do some damage against the Kyogre. I could have Geomancy there, but I didn't think it was worth the risk. And now I shall stall out his last turn of Tailwind here. Yep, that miss might also have saved me the game. But let's see here. So I'm double protecting here to make sure Tailwind expires because Moonblast doesn't knock out Ferrothorn, I don't think. Ugh, we might speed tie here still though, which is the annoying thing. He's going to Gyro Ball into Xerneas. Tailwind does expire. Yep. So here I'm actually just going to Moonblast and Ice Beam, I think. Yeah. So there are a bunch of things that this game is riding on right now, whether we speed tie or not, and whether he protects Ferrothorn. If he doesn't protect Ferrothorn and we don't speed tie, well, he doesn't protect here, so if I win the speed tie here, then I outright win the game. Let's see if we speed tie. Well, I don't know if we speed tie, but I got the Ice Beam off. That's all I care about. That should knock Ferrothorn out, right? Oh, these heart attacks from misses, man. Origin Pulse is definitely a 2-hit KO on Xerneas, though. You're kidding me. Ugh. Why? Why? I don't think Double Edge knocks out Kyogre. Oh. Oh, Pokemon, you kill me sometimes. Well, let's see. That was just painful, man. No! I'm done with this game. I'm done. I mean, I guess I can't complain about the crit because he missed one earlier, but like, really? Oh, good game, man. Good game. That was demoralizing. I think I need a break from this game. Stuff like that where you like play pretty well and then but that's what happens when you play Pokemon VGC, man. You gotta live and die by the RNG. So yeah, that was a frustrating one. It's games like those where you're like, I had the game won like 7 turns before if I just connected that one turn, and even after I tried, you know, played really well and pulled this comeback, like a crit just steals it away. So pretty heartbreaking, but you know, I win that game like over 90% of the time as long as RNG doesn't go crazy against my favor. But I really need to stop saying like, oh, if everything goes right, or not if everything goes right, if everything goes wrong, because like everything does end up going wrong. But yeah, good game to my opponent there, and we're gonna split today's episode 1-1. But you know, I still feel like I played pretty well, and those are games where it's like RNG is really not unpreventable, I should say, but like you know, everything has to go right for your opponent, and everything really did go right for my opponent there. But majority of times, you know, I do end up winning that game. But yeah, good game. Hope you guys enjoyed another crazy second game there. Double Edge was so close to picking up the knockout there as well, but it is what it is. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode. All right, peace.